Okay, so this is Transformations by Mariesha. We are going to be talking about graphing transformations and breaking them down so that you can move them onto a graph. Now, when you are trying to move one, you need to have a function. Your function needs to look like y equals the square root of x, y equals the square root of x plus 4 minus 5, y equals negative 2 square root of x plus 4 minus 5. The negative 2 is something we're going to talk about a little later. When you have an equation like this, which is y equals the square root of x plus 4 minus 5, the very first number you are going to go left 4, and the second number you are going to go down 5. When you have the very first number, you're going to go either left or right. If it's a positive, you're going to go to the left, and it's a negative, you're going to go to the right. So since it's a positive, we went plus 4 in this equation, so it'd be going 4 to the left. When you have a second number, it would be outside of the equation, or sometimes it's even the square root number, in the cases that you have the negative in front of the first number. Anyways, the second number is either going to go up or down. So if it's a positive, it's going to go up, and if it's a negative, it's going to go down. Because this is a negative 5, it is going to go down 5 on the graph. On times when you have a negative number in front of your square root, that means you'd have 3 numbers, and in that case, the very first number would mean it's reflected over the x-axis. It would mean that you're going to be going, whatever number that is, down on the graph by that number. So in this case, it would be going down 2 on the x-axis, and your graph's going to look a little something like this. So it's going to be reflected over the x-axis, and if whatever number it is how many you go down. So in this case, you would have gone down negative 2. Now, when you have an equation like this, which is y equals the square root of x minus 2 plus 5, the x minus 2 would be the very first number we're looking at, since there's no negative number in front of that, and it's going to be going right 2 since it's negative 2, and up 5 since the plus 5 is the second number and it is a positive. When you are looking at an equation like this, because there is a negative, even though there's no number out there, that just means it won't be going down the x-axis, but it still will be reflected over. So the very first thing we have to look at, that it's reflected. The second number in this case would be the x plus 2, and it would be going left or right, since that is the next number that we come to. And since it is a positive number, you would be going left 2. And the third number that we look at in this case would be the negative 3, and that would be going down 3. So just remember that in cases, the very first number is going left or right, the second number is going up or down, and if there's a negative in front of the first number, it's reflected, and the right or left would be the second number, and the up and down would be the third number. So we're going to look at an equation, and this is another tricky one that you're probably going to come to. If there is not a number in front of the square root or behind it, you just go by the number that would be there. So it'd be, in this case, it would be the very first number, and it would just go left 1 because it is positive, and the graph would just be transformed 1. There's no number to the outside, so it would not go up or down anything, and it would not be reflected. When you have an equation like this, which is just x equals plus 5, because there's no square root in front of it, and because there's no number to be in front of the square root, it would just be going up 5. So in equations like that, they're going to get really tricky. You just have to watch out for the square root and if there's a number in front or behind it. But yes, in this case, since it is a positive 5, it would just go up 5. So we're going to look at an equation like this. Y equals -1, the square root of x minus 4 minus 3. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to work it out. Just remember that there is a number in front of the square root. So when we're looking at equations like this, when the very first number does have a negative in front of it, so that means that it's reflected over the x-axis, and the second number is x minus 4, so since it is a negative number, it's going to go right 4, and since the third number has it's also negative, it's going to be going down 3. So another problem we're going to look at that that I have on here is y equals the square root of x plus 2 plus 10, and I'm going to give you guys about 20 seconds to go ahead and work this one out. Alright, so when we're looking at equations like this, the very first there is no number in front of the square root, so we can just go ahead and skip that part and go to the number inside the square root, which right now is x plus 2. So since it is a positive number, it is going to go left 2. Since there's a number outside of the square root, it is positive, it will be going up 2. Up 10. So sorry, up 10. When we're looking at equations like this, they can be a little tricky like I was talking before, which is y equals the square root of x plus 1. Remember that there's just one number. And since there's not a number in front of the square root, and there's not one behind it, this one's going to be a little tricky to figure out what the correct answer is going to be. So I'm going to give you about another 20 seconds to work this one out. Okay, so when you're looking at equations like this, since it's just one number, the very first number that you come to, since it's inside the square root, you go left or right. And because of that, it's a plus 1, so you will be going left 1. So yes, these are all the rules of transformations, and you just learned how to transform a function.